Is dag to dag of me Ingan is dem winter.
When Teresa and I decided that we wanted to build a house on the west coast of Scotland, and we'd actually found a plot, we wanted to create something that was actually worthy of the landscape and worthy to be in the landscape. We didn't want to actually build a standard square box that you could buy off the peg. It was by sheer chance that we met Stuart Bagshaw in Stornoway, and his signature design was what we see here, and we knew we'd found the right architect for the right house in the right place.
I've always started with the philosophy, getting those ideas right, and I've never really compromised on that. I came to the Western Isles in the mid-1970s. Part of my job was measuring up old Croft houses and getting to know all the thatched houses and basically learning about thatched houses and how they were done. And they're the perfect green machine for living in.
The style is based on a contemporary take of the traditional Blackhouse. So back in the day, there would be the rubble walls and there'd be a turf roof or a thatched roof. And Stuart's taken those ancient skills and turned them into a contemporary design for modern living.
There was so much about those that fascinated me. There was an evolution in the way they developed. So thatch on them was sacrificial in that they changed the thatch annually, and they had the fire in the middle of the room, and the peat smoke from the fire filtered into the thatch, and then it was used. It made that enriched the thatch and made it a better top dressing for the potatoes. And one very interesting thing was they also used puddle clay for the floor. So they used to put 20 sheep into a black house for a day, and they would puddle the clay, and then that would set like concrete. And they always had the sloping. The cows were always at the low end of the house, and cows obviously send off heat, so that's the central heating sorted. And then they wheel a lot, and so on. That produces ammonia. Ammonia is a cure for lung disease, or prevents lung disease. So TB didn't get into the houses until basically the doctors came in and said, you've got to ventilate these houses, and then TB came in.
When we did the topographic survey and the old ruin was on the ground, these guys knew where to build houses 150 years ago to shelter from the inclement weather that piles in over here. So we wanted to build a house that fitted in again to that landscape, that wasn't jarring, that you don't get wind noise, that when you come into the house you immediately feel comfortable.
The reason we're so excited to be involved with this building is because of the people behind it and their philosophy that drives it. It's a whole progressive approach to eco-sensitive design and architecture, environmentally sensitive design, and there's a whole ethos behind it.
When you think about the skills in the past, and if you go to ancient skills, even the Romans or the Egyptians or whatever, and all the skills were there, and we can't do that with all our technology and everything we've got. We can't reproduce it anymore. We've lost it. All the craft skills have been taught out of people. They're all being taught how to use concrete and wood and kit houses and all that kind of thing. And we've lost our way with architecture. We've lost the sense of place and identity. And I know it's economically, it's driven by economics, it's driven by technology. I'm not against that. I don't want to lose the skills either. And if you can marry the two together, then you've got something really good happening.
Coming into the house, you do get a completely different feeling, because all of a sudden it looks quite small and low from the outside, but when you come into it, you've got this big void space.
Because I'm using a pencil and not a computer, I can visualise the spaces within my head. I'm actually walking around inside it, so I'm visualising the 3 dimensions. And I don't only look at the building, I look at the building in its setting and how you control its surroundings as well. So it's very much developing the rural environment, and their sculptural forms, or they turn into sculptural forms within the landscape.
You can look out of the window and see the grasses blowing in the wind and the rain coming down, and you're comfortable. A lot of that is down to the shape of the building. So the curved walls, the curved ceiling, it's as if you're inside a cocoon. So you're actually cosseted by the house against the elements. I'm never bored of being here at all. I mean, you just have to look around, you know, I just pick out wee bits on the ceiling or on the floor, and you actually sort of get pleasure from just looking at detail.
The stone is always taken from the local area, so it's a local stone. We don't ever bring stone from afar because I want to use the materials that are here because they help the building fit within the landscape. I've got a very strong interest in the traditional crafts as well. In dry stone walling is a craft in itself, so you need good craftsmen on it. So I took 10 long-term unemployed and trained them in traditional skills.
I mean, selection of trades is crucial to anything that you do if you're involved in a complex project. And a lot of that will come down to the people that you've met in the past. Through the history of our business, we were able to choose certain items that we were able to put into the building, like the oak flooring, the flagstone floors, the porcelain tiles, the natural stone on the walls. We were able to choose all of that, and we had complete control over it. We were then able to actually start looking at more specialist products, like some of the different types of light fittings that we knew that we wanted to come from an ethical source, from a background of, again, interest and excellence. We wanted simple design, but we wanted, again, natural products to be used so that it entirely fed into the building and enhanced the building. I think one of the things that we were particularly pleased with was some of the selection of the light fittings from Land Lighting. When we spoke to them, you immediately can connect with people that understand your product and what you're actually trying to achieve. The materials that they chose, just effectively mud, turned into a beautiful shape, that works in the building. We didn't want some metal off-the-shelf fitting from a lighting warehouse. We wanted something that human hands had touched, human hands had made, human hands had created, and the love that goes into that. So that's why we chose porcelain fittings, and we've been totally delighted with them.
It seemingly effortlessly sits into the environment, and not just how they've done that in structure and shape, but they've done it with the materials. You know, the stone is the same stone that's in the hillside. The roof is made from the local flora and fauna, and that seems like an obvious solution, but it's just very rarely done.
Ecologically, we dug a big hole in the hill. We wanted to return the landscape to as close as it was before. We've also got wildlife that's living in the building now. So we've got weasels, we've got toads, there's hedgehogs, there's bats in the walls. The fact that we've actually created something that is unique, that is beautiful, something that we can pass on, something that the family love, something that our friends love.
When you're here in this building, in this landscape, there's a real sense of place, and I think that comes through all of the ancient wisdom that's integral to the build. You know, it's in every surface, in every stone, and it gives that real sense of belonging.
Laat